you don't have a growth problem, you have a prospecting discipline problem. Most entrepreneurs find that in business, you might say that you're not growing as you would want to, but is the problem really that your strategy is not working, or is it that you're not talking to enough new people, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly? So that's the question that we really need to ask ourselves as entrepreneurs. The other thing is sometimes we make excuses. Let's face it, we make excuses. We say the economy is bad. We don't have people coming back. We're not having return customers, enough of them. People don't have money. We say there are not enough people. Let me tell you, there are lots of people in the world. There's more than enough people in the world. The only thing is we're not talking to enough of them. If you think about it and ask yourself, how many new people have you spoken to about your business in the last week? Can you answer that question? Can you say these are a number of people I've spoken to about my business this week, today alone? So these are the questions we need to ask ourselves as entrepreneurs if we really want to grow. Because guess what? If you're not having enough conversations, all of that compounds to not having enough sales. Because you need to have conversations with people to have sales, and then those sales equals growth. So one thing leads to the other. You can't just put it anyhow. Now, some of us, we say, yes, we're having enough conversations or whatever it is that we say. And then we say, I'm going to start having conversations. We promise ourselves, I'm going to start prospecting. And before I talk about what I'm going to say, let me just say that prospecting is not left to just network marketing people and direct selling people, because sometimes people hear prospecting and they think, oh, it's network marketing. No, no, no. Listen, I'm part of a network marketing business, a direct selling business, Health Guard, and we do a lot of prospecting. We have a lot of salespeople and they do all of that. But I also have a grocery store, urban ethnic market, and I can tell you that I do prospecting for that. Because if I don't, how am I going to get new customers? If you are in the service industry and you don't talk to enough people, how would they know about your service? So the conversations, whether it's in person, whether it's online, on social media, you need to be having conversations. All right. Now, let's say now you've heard me, you think I'm going to start having more conversations. Let me tell you what happened to me. A few weeks ago, I said I'm going to have more conversations, more prospecting, but I wanted to have it in a different way. I wanted to go to stores and talk to them about my products and have them carry it in their store. And I said, you know what, we're going to do this. Now, if some of you are like me, and you find yourself in that situation, automatically there are all kinds of preparation you now have to do. I have to get the products right. I have to make sure the packaging is right. Some of us, we even start designing flyers, spending time designing all kinds of things. I spent a whole month not actually moving it, not doing anything about it, because I was always busy doing something else. Now, I was part of a coaching session where I coached somebody and they coached me back. We coaches have this, a coach should have a coach. And what I brought to the table was about this. And the coach that was coaching me said, why don't you just go do it and get out of your head? Stop preparing forever. And I have a video out there that I talked about, don't over prepare till you don't do it, right? I'm telling you this things, and then I found myself in a situation where I did not even recognize that I was doing what I'd told people not to do. So sometimes I'm really preaching to myself when I'm telling you these things. Anyway, I then go off. I decide this week I'm actually going to do it. And I have the names of the stores. I'm going to speak to those new stores. And I get myself ready and I get going. The first place I went to, I spoke to the guy. They said, this is the manager. I was smiling for days. Listen, that smile could get me into anywhere and get me anything. I was ready. I was on point. I had my pitch ready. I was dressed right, nothing revealing, making sure that they focus on the business. And I spoke to the manager, and this guy was like, when we got to the shea butter part, he was like, yes, good for winter. Only for me to finish. And he says, now I'm going to go tell my ops manager about this. And I'm like, wait, what now? You are not the actual manager that I need to speak to. That's what I said in my head. But I smiled and I said, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Now, I could have said, oh, can I go speak to the ops manager too? I could have done that. But then that would have been an actual insult to this guy, because he's also a manager. He's not the one that makes the decision of what gets on the shelves, but he makes the decisions on what stays on the shelves and what stays in view of customers, you see. So I said thank you to him. I asked him, when am I going to hear back from you? He said tomorrow or Monday. So I was happy. Like I was on a roll. You know, when you get that maybe yes kind of thing, you are on a roll. So I'm off to the next doors. The next one was a complete bust. Like, no, they said go to corporate. Then the third one, I got there. I was smiling. They told me to wait. The guy would get to me. And I waited. I wasn't fidgeting or anything. While I was waiting, I spoke to the staff, smiled, hey, spoke to them nicely, had a conversation going. And when this guy walked up to me, he was not smiling. Like he was so serious. And here I am smiling. I'm like, you got 2 minutes, please, just 2 minutes of your time. Let me tell you about my products. And he said, sure, just 2 minutes. I was in there because I was prepared. I told him about my products very quickly. And he said to me, are you registered for this? Are you registered for that? I'm like, yes. But then he asked me about if I'm registered for the way they ship. And I said, no. And he said, you know what? I don't do this usually, but I'm going to give you a chance. Come on Monday and put your products on the shelves. I'm like, what? I was so happy. But the thing is, this guy didn't smile at me the entire time. Even when he gave me the opportunity, he didn't even smile. And I said to him, I will be there. Now, the next three places I went to was a no. They all said go to corporate. And they did it to me smiling. Now, the guy who did not smile at me was the one who actually ended up giving me an opportunity. And that's the thing with prospecting. Prospecting, you don't know what you're going to get. And you know what? Prospecting is not the same thing as sales. Prospecting is you going to talk to someone about your product, about your service, in the hope that they will buy. They may not buy today, but they may buy tomorrow, and they may refer somebody else to you. That's really what prospecting is about. So you never know who you're going to meet. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. So you have to put your best foot forward. But if you don't even talk to them, if you don't go prospecting, how will you get new customers? So here is my task for you this week and forever, not just this week. Make up your mind that you're going to be talking to new people. You'll be having new conversations about your business every single day, about your business, about your service. You do that every single day because that is how you're going to grow your business. Remember what I said at the beginning. You don't have a growth problem, you have a prospecting discipline problem. So become more disciplined in your prospects. And for the love of God, follow up. When you speak to new customers, when you speak to prospects, follow them up. If you have their number, go back again and again and again and thank them for their time because this is how you really grow your business. These are what you do to grow your business. You do them consistently and then you will see the compounded growth that you get out of it. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Go talk to someone. Bye.